They called it just a school field trip for days of learning, fun, memories. But what if I told you someone had already chosen who would not return? Glowing was excited. Her siblings talked about their own field trips with smiles. Her parents were busy, successful. Prayer had slowly disappeared from the house. Unknown to them, the school proprietor made a vow every year. A dark vow, and this year, the number was 7 students. The bus left the school gate. Music played. Laughter filled the air. But before nightfall, the road demanded price. This story will change how you see school trips forever. In a quiet, well-kept part of Lagos, where mornings began with the sound of distant traffic and evenings ended with glowing streetlights, lived the Godwin family. They were known. They were respected. They were admired. Mr. Godwin was a senior banker. His suits were always neat, his handshake firm. His name carried weight in boardrooms and offices. Mrs. Godwin was a successful trader. Her goods traveled farther than she did, from mile 12 to Balagan Market. Her name echoed with respect and profit. Together, they built a life many people prayed for. They had 3 children. Goodness, the firstborn, was 18. Calm, thoughtful. She spoke little but observed much. She believed silence carried wisdom. Edward, 16, was curious and bold, always asking questions, always eager to explore the world beyond their gate. And Glowing, the last-born, 14, was cheerful and full of dreams. Her laughter filled the house. Her hopes reached farther than her age. But before money arrived, before respect followed, before comfort became normal, prayer ruled their home. Every morning they gathered, no matter how early, no matter how tired, before school, before work, before any journey. They prayed. They prayed before stepping out. They prayed before eating. They prayed before sleeping. God was not an option. He was a foundation. Back then, they waited on God. They listened. They trusted. But success is loud, and prosperity demands attention. As promotions came, time reduced. As businesses expanded, schedules tightened. Morning prayers became shorter, then occasional, then silent. Meals were rushed. Nights were busy. Phones replaced devotion. Deadlines replaced dependence. They still believed in God. Yes, but they no longer waited on Him. Prayer became something they remembered, only when time permitted. And slowly, without noticing, the shield they once carried was gently placed aside. Whenever Goodness and Edward returned home from their universities, the Godwin house changed. The rooms felt warmer. Laughter returned. Stories filled the air. Suitcases were dropped at the door. And soon, everyone gathered in the living room. That was when the memories began. Goodness would sit calmly, her voice soft but steady. She spoke of her secondary school days, the long bus rides, the excitement of leaving the school gate, the joy of seeing new places for the first time. Edward added his own stories. With energy, with laughter, he talked about noisy classmates, songs sung at the top of their voices, jokes shared at the back of the bus, and how learning outside the classroom felt like freedom. They spoke of field trips, museums, historic towns, nature reserves, long roads stretching into the unknown, moments that stayed in the heart. As they spoke, Glowing listened, quietly at first, then with shining eyes. She sat closer each time, her head tilted, her smile growing wider. In her mind, she imagined it all: the bus, the songs, the laughter, the adventure. "I can't wait for my own field trip," she would finally say, her voice full of excitement. "I want memories like yours." Her parents smiled. They saw innocence. They saw happiness. They saw dreams forming. What they did not see was how desire can blind caution. They did not pray like before. They did not pause to ask questions. They did not sense the quiet warning that comes when excitement grows too fast. The house was filled with joy, But the atmosphere had changed. God was no longer invited into conversations. He was assumed, and danger never announces itself loudly. Sometimes it walks in quietly, wrapped in excitement, smiling like a dream coming true. The school was famous. Its gates were wide, its buildings freshly painted. Awards lined the walls like trophies of pride. Results spoke loudly, louder than caution ever could. Parents competed to enroll their children there. Forms sold out quickly. Recommendations were traded like favors. To many, the school was a blessing. But every place has two faces. By day, the proprietor, Mr. Idola, was known as an educationist. Well-spoken, well-dressed, always smiling. He attended conferences, quoted statistics, spoke about excellence and discipline. But when night came and the town slept, another man emerged. At the beginning of every new year, exactly at midnight, Mr. Idola wrapped a white cloth around his waist. No witnesses, no lights. Corn soaked in coconut water was scattered at the school gates, at the corners, near the classrooms. The air changed. Words were whispered, not spoken. Incantations floated upward, unheard by human ears. And he whispered to the night, "Let the town sleep. Let eyes be closed. Let the price be paid." Sometimes, shortly after resumption, a child would fall sick. Strange sickness, sudden weakness, no clear diagnosis. Other times, a family would mourn quietly. People talked, but softly. Parents noticed, but ignored. Results blinded wisdom, and the warning signs, small but persistent, were treated as coincidence. When darkness is tolerated, it grows comfortable. The year glowing entered senior class. The demand came, not through dreams, not through visions, but through knowing. 7 students. That was the price. For Mr. Idola's next level of power, he did not choose names. Darkness never needs names, only numbers. Somewhere, a balance was written. Somewhere, a decision had already been made. And while parents celebrated promotions and students planned adventures, the number waited. 7. No alarm rang. No voice shouted. That is how danger works. It does not rush. It waits. The morning of the field trip arrived. Excitement filled the house. Glowing woke up early, earlier than usual. She packed her bag carefully. Snacks, clothes, headphones. She checked the list twice. Everything was ready. Her parents reminded her of rules. Stay with your classmates. Listen to your teachers. Don't wander off. But no one said, "Let us pray." The family altar was quiet. No candle lit. No hands joined. No words spoken into the journey. Goodness and Edward were away. The house felt busy yet empty. Glowing hugged her parents. She smiled. No fear. No hesitation. Sometimes the most dangerous journeys begin with the brightest smiles. She boarded the school bus, sat behind the driver, headphones in her ears. Music filled her world. The road opened before them, and heaven waited for an invitation. That never came. Hours into the journey, traffic slowed the highway. A long truck ahead, a commercial bus struggling to pass. The sun stood high. Voices filled the bus. Laughter, music, carelessness. The school driver slowed down, carefully changing lanes. He had a strange feeling, a heaviness he could not explain. Then the road changed. The bus brake failed. The stumbled and crushed. Suddenly, too suddenly, confusion erupted. Screams filled the air. Students panicked. Teachers shouted instructions. The driver tried to protect the children. That was his mistake. Shots rang out. One, then another. The driver was confused. In the chaos, some students were hit. Time slowed. Glowing felt a sudden pain. Sharp, unexpected. Her headphones fell. The music stopped. The world went quiet. And somewhere far away, a number was being counted. By the time help arrived, The road was no longer loud. Sirens echoed, but the chaos had already passed. Broken glass, torn bags, scattered shoes. Teachers counted heads again. And again, parents would later ask, was there a mistake? There was none. 7 students did not return. Not 8, not 6, 7. The number sat heavy on the air, as if the road itself knew. Ambulances drove away. Some children lived. Some would heal. But 7 seats on the bus remained empty. No explanation satisfied the silence. Darkness had taken its due, and it did not apologize. The Godwin home became still. Too still. No laughter. No footsteps running down the hallway. No music from Glowing's room. Goodness and Ed would return home, not with stories, but with tears that refused to stop. Suitcases remained unopened. They stood in the doorway, hoping it was all a mistake. But grief does not make mistakes. Mr. Godwin sat quietly, staring at nothing. He remembered the days. He prayed before every journey, every meeting, every decision. Mrs. Godwin collapsed to the floor. She remembered the nights. They knelt together, hands joined, voices trembling. We were busy, she cried, but God was never absent. The silence answered her. Darkness never protects its servants forever. Whispers became questions. Questions became investigations. Parents demanded answers. Authorities dug deeper. Strange records surfaced. Patterns emerged. The school was shut down. Mr. Idola was arrested. His white cloth meant nothing now. His incantations were silent, but victory tasted bitter because justice arrived late. 7 lives were gone, and no prison sentence could return them. Darkness always collects its payment first. When prayer sleeps, danger walks. When faith delays, darkness plans. The road is not evil, but journeys without God are blind. Do not rush into tomorrow without calling heaven today. Pray before you go. Pray before you travel. Pray before you trust the road. Always